Okay, we're ready for language today. Language being Thursday, March 26th, so be sure you're on the right day, on the right video. For language today, we will need page 132 to page 133. Page 132 to 133, okay? Before we get started in our book today, so we'll just kind of slide that away, let's review our pronouns. We have been talking about, over the past couple of days, our new concept being pronouns, our new part of speech that we're working in, pronouns taking the place of nouns. You don't want to say our name over and over again. We can put those pronouns in. I have our chart here. I can come a little closer to you here. So we have our pronouns. Yesterday we talked about pronouns that work on the subject side. I, we, you, he, she, it, and they. And then we have pronouns that work on the predicate side. Once the line is drawn, these pronouns work on the predicate side. So those are I, we changes to us, you stays the same, him, them, her, and it. And we learned that the two pronouns of you and the two pronouns of it stay the same, whether they're on the subject side or on the predicate side. Okay? So we're going to look at some examples on the board and figure out which pronoun would work there. You know, remember we have talked about how we want to be sure that when we're speaking, sometimes what we think sounds correct may not be correct. We have to follow, you have to stop and think. Yesterday, I think I said the sheep lay down. I said, oh, wait a minute, they lie down. So we have to stop. Sometimes we're creatures of habit. We just say those words and we think they're correct. Sometimes they are, but then sometimes we have to remember that there are grammatical rules. So we're just trying to remember those and retrain. It's hard for me. I mean, even sometimes I, say words incorrectly. So I try to, when I catch myself, stop and correct it. But when we learn those habits, they're hard to break. So let's look at the first sentence. Dan and I, me, rake the leaves. So we're looking at Dan and I. I is correct there because this is part of the subject. Dan and I, we did what? We raked. So we see Dan and I raked leaves. So Dan and I would be on the subject side. Okay? Number 2, she, her, and Ruth are singing. She or her. Sometimes we want to say her and Ruth, right? But we have to look at our pronoun chart. Which one is there? On the subject side, she. So you have she, Ruth. Draw your divisor. We have a verb phrase. Remember, M is R, there is R. Are what? Singing. So we're going to pick up this noun here as well. Singing. Verb there as well, singing. So she and Ruth are singing. Number 3, give he the book. Give him the book. Remember, this is an imperative sentence. An imperative being a command. Or just asking somebody to do something. If you don't want, if you think about command, just asking someone to do something. An imperative gives a command or asks someone to do something. So you being the subject here, you, give would be the verb. So give him the book, correct? Because this is the verb here. So him would be on the verb or predicate side. Okay? Next sentence. Mom told I a story. Mom told me a story. This one's pretty easy, right? We wouldn't say Mom told I a story. We would say Mom being the subject, told being the verb. We would divide between Mom and told. So Mom told me. That's right. It changes to me. Here, okay? maybe I should circle these. It might be a little, so it's kind of looking like in some of these that, okay, because I'm doing some extra steps here. All right, pass or pass me the apples, please. That's right, that's another imperative. You're asking someone to do something. That's an imperative. An imperative sentence, the subject is always you. That's right. So pass is the verb. So pass me, correct. Pass me the apples, please. Because me here would be in the predicate part. So just try to keep up with those, which ones go on the subject side, which ones go on the predicate side, and we'll keep reviewing those. Okay, so let's look now at page 132. Page 132, we are on cause and effect. Cause and effect. All right. Cause and effect. We've talked about this in our reading some. Remember, we've talked about different choices people make. Sometimes those choices have good effects. Sometimes they're not. Remember, we talked about in our Bible, David, he decided that he would run. Then he lied to the priest. At the end, the priest and their family lost their lives. That's a bad effect of what's going on. Sometimes you can decide, hey, this summer, I'm going to have a lemonade stand, and the lemonade money that I get, I'm going to donate to so-and-so. And then that so-and-so person or group can take that money and they can buy supplies. That's a good effect. But whatever our actions are, there are effects, whether they be good or whether they be bad. And sometimes they kind of go hand in hand. Okay? Now let's think about a couple of scenarios here. What would happen if you ate a candy bar every night before you went to bed? I don't know. What would happen? You might get a stomach ache, right? Let's see. Let me ask somebody here. I'm just going to pick one. Jillian. Hey, Jill. What do you think? What about that dream, Jillian? Remember that dream you were telling us about? I don't know. Would that candy bar give you maybe a different kind of dream at night? I don't know. What about, Jillian, what about your teeth? Would that be good for your teeth every night? Now, is Miss Upchurch saying you can't eat a candy bar at all? No. Am I not saying that you can't eat a candy bar and go brush your teeth? I'm not saying that. But every single night, what would happen? Yeah, might not be such a good idea. So let's look at another scenario. Let's think about another one. If it rained very, very hard all day today, what would be some consequences of that? If it rained really, really hard all day, in the past couple of days we have had some rain. Let's see. Charlie. Hey, Charlie. How are you? Miss you. Miss you too, Jill. What do you think would be some consequences for that? I miss all of you, by the way. Charlie? Well, I'm thinking right now, we've had a bunch of pollen washed away from our house right now. That's a pretty good effect, right? The pollen is washed away. What would some other effects be? Maybe we may have some flooding issues if it rained really, really hard. The rivers will start to rise. Maybe you wouldn't be able to go outside. That might be an effect of what would happen. But that we have to have the rain, and sometimes we have what we need, and sometimes we have a little bit more, and sometimes we have a little bit less. All of those things have cause and effect. Okay? So today, that on your page 132, you're looking at two causes. Two things happen, and so we're going to see what effects may come. This is going to be a page that you're going to do on your own, And then tomorrow we can go over some scenarios of what happened. Look at the first cause. The cause is in the circle. You're going to write 3 effects for each cause. The wind blew hard all night. What would be some of the effects? I'm going to tell you one effect of that. I wouldn't sleep much because the wind, it wakes me up. So I would write for one of my effects, I didn't get much sleep. I'm not going to sleep much. I'll be tired the next morning. That would be an effect that it would have on me. So what would be some effects it would have for you? Whether maybe some of them are positive. Maybe you like the sound of the wind. Maybe you would say, oh, Miss Upchurch, you may not would sleep, but I would. So you finish filling in 2 and 3 on your own there. Page 132, Maria put $3 into the missionary offering. Maria put $3 into the missionary offering. I think those would be some good effects, right? Our church, we have our missionary offering. We send our money to our missionaries, and our missionaries use it. They build churches, they buy Bibles and print materials so they can give those materials out. They're able to stay in the countries that, I'm giving you too many answers, aren't I? They're able to stay in the countries that they're in. They're able to pay their bills. They're able to be there. This would be a good effect. So you fill in 1, 2, and 3 there. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to look back. It just caught my brain. Page 131 on your zoo animal yesterday. Were you able to put down your favorite animal that you would like to see and why? If you get a chance, mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, whoever, if you're listening, maybe text me a couple of those and I can share them. Anytime you guys have anything you want to text me that someone wants to share, just let me know and I'll be glad to include it. It might be the next video or even maybe the next one, but I'll catch up with you. So if you were able to put your favorite zoo animal and why, send it to me. And I'll share that information with the rest of you. Just please, guys, make sure you're keeping up, okay? Just make sure you're keeping up. Cause. You don't keep up with your schoolwork. Effect. Ugh, I don't know. We'd have to talk about those effects. So let's keep up with our schoolwork and see the good effects that we'll have. All right, let's look at page 133. This is going to be review. You have your remember with the shooting star there, so that is just a review concept. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. And we've already gone over that. You have number 1. You have your think A. Draw a line between the subject and predicate parts of the sentence. Underline the verb twice. Underline the subject once. Circle the correct pronoun. In the blank, write S if the pronoun is in the subject part of the sentence. Write P if the pronoun is in the predicate part. I know I have my chart there. And you have at the top of your page a box there. And I'm going to bring this close so that you can see it. Subject side, predicate side. So if you want to pause here, you can so that you can have that for review as you're doing your page. So I'll pause a second. Okay, so you have that in front of you. Let's do one together. Number 1, Mrs. Warren invited they or them to our class. Okay, so let's look. Draw a line between the subject and predicate part. What is our subject and verb or predicate? Mrs. Warren, your line, invited. What is the verb? The verb is, right, I underlined mine twice. I was just making sure I did. Invited, that's right. Subject, Mrs. Warren. So are we going to choose they or them? Right, them, because it's on the other side of the line. It is on this side of the line. Anything that falls after your dividing line is in your predicate part of your sentence after the verb, okay? So them would be correct. So, and then in the blank, you're writing a P for predicate. Because if you look back up at the blue, predicate, them is in blue. So that falls under the predicate or verb part of the sentence. Predicate and verb are the same thing, okay? Number 2, we'll do one more together. The neighbors brought we some warm pumpkin bread, or the neighbors brought us some warm pumpkin bread. I think our ear is pretty much tuned to that one. So we are drawing a line between neighbors and brought, correct. Our subject there being neighbor. So we underline that once. Our verb, brought, correct. Underline that twice. Are we going to use we or us? Let me see. Harrison. Hey, Harrison. Which one are we going to choose? Are we going to choose we or us? Us. Us is correct. So, and Harrison, is that in the predicate part of the sentence or the subject part for the blank? Yes, it is in the predicate part because it comes on the other side of our line. So this is the subject part. This is the predicate part, this whole side here, because it comes after the line. All right, so yes. So you're going to circle us and write a P on that blank for predicate. You do number 3, 4, and 5 by yourself, and we'll kind of go over those tomorrow as well. Okay? Think B. Please hand that cup to, I didn't even read the instructions. Choose the correct pronoun in parentheses to complete each sentence. Number 1, please hand that cup to I, or please hand that cup to me. Yeah, that's an imperative, subject being you. Hand would be that, the predicate there. So yes, and we're not going to speak, please hand that cup to I. We know that doesn't sound right. So our ears tune to that. Number 2 and 3, you can do those on your own as well. Okay? Think C. Circle each pronoun. Underline the noun in the sentence that the pronoun takes the place of. And then number 3, draw an arrow from each pronoun to the noun it stands for. All right, so this is the kind of little bow there that you're going to draw back and match your words, okay? We'll do one of these together. Quickly. And I'll let you do a couple of those on your own, okay? So you can go ahead and start on number 1 while I'm writing on the board, okay? Okay. All right, so let's look at the number 1 here. Sorry, I had to get kind of small. I'm used to our big long board, so I have to remember to compact it here. Okay, so circle each pronoun, underline the noun, and then match them. Easy. All right. Maya is going to Kansas next week. She will be gone for 3 days. My Charlie Brown writing at the end, okay? She will be gone for 3 days. So first job is to circle the pronoun. Pronoun. Coming off this chart, off your box at the top. Let's see. Aiden. Hey, Aiden. Let's see. Have you found the pronoun she? Okay. Because that's the only word in this whole two sentences that's on that pronoun chart. Okay. So we're going to circle she. All right. Now, Aiden, who is she renaming? Maya. Yes. She is not renaming Kansas. Kansas is not a person. That's a place. That's a proper noun, but it's a place. So you're correct. So we're going to underline Maya. And then we're going to match she to Maya. And ta-da! There we go. Those are renaming each other. Okay, we'll do one more together. You want to go ahead and work on number 2. Let me see who I'm going to get to answer number 2 for me. Jamel. Hey, Jamel. Hey, buddy. Work on number 2. I'm going to get your answers in just a second, okay? Be looking at your box at the top to find your predicates in. Oh, number 2 is not 2 sentences separated. This is one sentence, one complete sentence, okay? So it's in there. Just look for it. Okay, number 2. Everett said that he forgot to bring a lunch today. Jamel, did you find that pronoun? One of these words that's on this chart, whether it's on the subject side or the predicate side? You are correct. He. There it is right there. There it is right there. It's the only ones that match. So we're going to circle he. Well, Jamel, who is he? Who are we referring to there? Everett. That's right. So we're going to come and underline Everett here. And then we're going to match, he to Everett. They're one and the same. One person, okay? He to Everett there, okay? All right, so you go ahead and do numbers 3, 4, and 5 on your own, and we will go over those tomorrow being Friday in our next lesson. So just finish up page 133 for today, and we will review it tomorrow. At some point next week, hopefully we can get together and get our testing done. So we're just working through, but just coming up in the next couple of days, you will have, not tomorrow, which is Friday, but next week, we will do a quiz or a test, but I'll give you a review and then test the next day, just like we always do. Okay? So we are finished with language now. Let's see, after language, we would have, is it spelling? All right, so we'll do, trial test. Today's Thursday. So you can go ahead and get your paper ready for your trial test. Be sure to put your name, date, test, list 25. We're going to finish up with 25.